I've been thinking about something recently and I was wondering if you can hear me out. Let's talk about it. What is retirement? What is the definition of retirement? Take a minute and think about it. What is your definition of retirement? Or what has society taught you to define retirement as? Society, in my opinion, has taught us that retirement means that you stop working when you're 65 and that you can start pulling out of your 401k, your IRA, and pay taxes, but not pay the penalty tax. So you're still paying tax when you're pulling out of your retirement. But going back, the definition that society has taught us to believe what retirement is that we turn a certain age, 65 in this case, and it's going to increase in the future, and we stop working. We stop working and we start pulling out of our savings, or maybe the job that we work for has some sort of pension, right? Either way, the definition is tied to not working. Now, the question I have is, why does it have to be related to work, right? So then we kind of take a couple steps back and think, okay, why do we work? And for the most of us, we work because we want to pay our bills, we want to support our family, and we want to pay for the lifestyle that we want. But most of that definition is related to money, financial means, being able to support. Now, what if you're someone that have the money, either from your family, whether you're a trust fund, or you just got lucky, right? So if you have the money and you continue to work, that means that you don't need the money, but really it's more about identity, right? Finding out your identity, who you are, the meaning of life. And the other reason why people work is maybe because they love what they do, or that, working is not something that they think about, but it's just a natural habit that they have on a daily basis, right? And also, the last group is really for those who just want to stay busy, kill time, right? So that tells me that we all work for a different reason, and that's fine. Most of us don't love what we do, unfortunately. We do it because it's an evil necessity. It's the best thing at the moment where it can provide us the financial means to support our families, etc. So, what is retirement, right? If retirement is, for the 90% of us, not doing what we love, then retirement essentially means not being somewhere where we don't want to. So if your job sends you off to a work trip and you don't really want to be there, right, that's work. But if it's in a situation where you love doing that, you do not mind doing that, then most of the time you don't look at it as work, just a lifestyle, something that is part of your life. And I think the follow-up question is, so when you do retire, what do you do during retirement? And when you retire, you basically do the things that you've always wanted to do, but you couldn't do them because you've been trading your time for the financial means to support yourself, pay bills, mortgage, get the lifestyle that you want. And so retirement is just not being somewhere you don't want to be and not doing something you don't want to do. But what if you're doing something you love? Can you do something you love earn income and retire at the same time? Why does retirement has to be tied to work? What if you love working? If you love working, then that means you're never retired. And then I guess another question is, do we have to retire if we love what we do, right? Does the definition of retirement has to be correlated one-to-one to not quote unquote working? And going back into the loop, it's like we work because we have to. It's even necessity, at least for the 90% of us in the world. And we do it as a financial means to then one day be able to not work and then allow that money that we saved up to finance the lifestyle that we've always wanted. So isn't the question not how do I or we retire, but really it's how do I find the thing that I love to do without being teased of wanting to retire? And I think that is $1 million question. But ironically, you see how that question is tied to dollar signs, $1 million. So yeah, this is just food for thought. And I would love to hear what you think about retirement, what your thoughts are on this thought process, and what is retirement? Do we all have to retire? Do you want to retire? Why do you want to retire? Because you don't want to work anymore. Well, why? So what if you love what you're doing? Then it won't feel like work. But if you continue to do what you love to do, that means you can't retire. Is that right? Is retirement tied to income, right? But when you're retired and you pull out of your 401k and your IRA, you still got to pay taxes. So you're never really retired. So really retirement means that you don't want to be, you're never somewhere where you don't want to be. But if it's tied to work, then you're not retired. But if you love what you do, that's not work, right? Happy to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Have a great rest of the day.